Hello artists! Today I am going to teach you how to make pop-ups, which is a fun thing to know how to do, and it's really simple once you just learn the little tricks. You can make something cool that pops up to surprise somebody. Alright, let's get started. Okay, let's think about pop-ups a little bit here. I'm going to show you one example of a pop-up card that I made. Here's the front, and then boom, here's the inside. This is called a step pop-up. A step pop-up. And that's because to make it, you make a mechanism like this. I'll show you how we cut this out and fold it. It's really simple once you know how. And you can see it looks like a little step, and that's the part where we glue the piece that's going to be the one that unfolds and pops up when we open our card. So, supplies we're going to need are, we're going to need scissors, a glue stick or some kind of glue, marking pens or crayons, a pencil, we'll need a pencil, and we'll need 2 pieces of paper that are exactly the same size because we're going to fold these and put one inside the other. I also want you to have a little piece of scratch paper. We're going to do a little bit of planning on that. And a small piece of paper, some scraps of paper that are just small because the pop-up element just actually needs to be fairly small. So, in thinking about pop-ups, I think a really cool thing about pop-ups is the element of surprise. You're sort of just expecting a flat card, like a regular card, and pop, you open it up and you've got this really cool thing in there. Another really great thing about it is that you've got details and layers of space that you can use in this neat structure, in this cool pop-up structure. You have the background, you have the middle ground, which is the pop-up, and you have the foreground, which is the bottom layer where you can put different kinds of designs and elements on there to get your message across. And that brings us to message and theme. It's really cool that you can, your message or theme might be it's somebody's birthday, or it might be just to say hello, or you might actually want to make one that's not a card, but that's just a little scene from like a story, a book that you're reading. Like if your teacher wants you to do some sort of book report, you could do a pop-up that shows details from a scene in your book, and the background could be the setting, the pop-up could be a character, and the foreground could be some other elements from the book. But we're going to use the pop-up structure and take advantage of it to make a really cool card or pop-up. Let me show you a couple that I made. I showed you the birthday one, and then here's one that just says thinking of you. And on the inside, it has a rainbow and clouds. So the background has some rainy clouds and sunny clouds and little flowers. And the front has words on it, wishing you plenty of rainbows. I'm going to send this one to my friend Irene, who I haven't seen for a long time, but I think about her a lot. And I know she's going to love that. You'll notice that I made this front kind of plain, kind of basic, because I like how that contrasts with this. So you see this part and you're just thinking it's a plain card, and you open it and it makes the surprise even better, I think, when the front is a little plain. But that's totally up to you. That's just how I like to do it. And this one's going to be from my mom. Again, I just made a simple thing on the front that just says sending you ... lots of love. And I used the background to draw lots of different hearts because the theme is love. I made a rainbowy heart here for the middle, and down here on the foreground I made little colored dots, sort of like confetti or something. And so I used all these different surfaces to add some interest and color and dimension to it. So it's really lively and full of shape and color and movement. And I think that's pretty fun. So, before we get started on actually making the pop-up, I would like you to take a few minutes, maybe just 5 minutes at the most, to plan a little bit. who do you want to make this for? Do you want to give it to somebody who you're thinking about, like your friend or grandma or a neighbor? Do you want to give it for a birthday card, or do you want to make it for a book report that you want to turn in, show your teacher? You decide what you want to make it for, and then we're going to make what are called thumbnail sketches. A thumbnail sketch is called thumbnail because thumbnails are pretty small. These are just a little tiny sketch. It's not a fancy picture. And my thumbnail sketches are going to look like this: the back of my card and kind of the front of my card. And I'm going to make 3 thumbnails because I want to give myself 3 ideas to choose from. And I'm thinking I'm going to make a card for my neighbor whose name is Anne, and she's 85 years old. She lives alone, and I call her every once in a while to check on her. I thought it'd be nice to send her a card. So what does Anne like? Anne likes flowers. Anne likes cake. And Anne likes to hear stories about my cat. So one idea would be to put a cat on the pop-up in the middle. And in the background, maybe some clouds and a sun and blue sky. And maybe down on the front, maybe some flowers. And write her a little message there. Another idea would make maybe make the pop-up be like a bouquet of flowers. Maybe that would go there. Maybe the front would be like some green grass. And maybe the back would be some clouds and a nice sunny sky to make her feel good, and a little message written here. Or maybe I'd make her a cake. On the little pop-up thing here, maybe I'd make her a special little cake. And maybe back here I'd put some sun and clouds to make a pretty blue sky for her. And then maybe down here I'd put some flowers. See how quickly I did that? Just a thing that artists do to plan out, to really be thinking about what I want to do. And I think I'm going to choose this one with the flowers, because this is the time of year her garden is blooming and she really loves that. So my thumbnail's done. My planning is done. I'm going to put it aside so I can use it later to remind me. And now I'm going to show you how to make the card, the pop-up. So you're going to take these 2 pieces of paper. One of them you're going to fold in half like this, hot dog style. I mean, not hot dog, hamburger style, like a hamburger bun. And you're going to crease it, make a nice even crease. When you fold it up here, be careful and try to match up the corners. That's going to be the outside of the card. Then I'm going to fold this part the same exact way, matching up the corners as best I can. Hold the corners and come down here and press the crease in. And the more carefully you press the crease, the better it's all going to go together. This is going to be the outside. This is going to be the inside. Now is the part where I'm going to show you how to make that little step that's going to hold the pop-up element. So you need to make sure you're working with the folded side, not the loose ends, but the folded side. And put that down there. And then you're going to take your pencil and you're just going to draw, here's the fold. I'm just going to draw about in the center a line, not super long, into the middle. I don't want it to go halfway in, or it'll just be too big and it won't work out right. I'll show you later. Then maybe I'll go over a couple of inches and make another line the same length. You can measure those if you want to, but I find that I can just pretty easily draw 2 pretty straight lines like that. Like I said, if you go into the very center, you've gone way too far. I would recommend going more like 1/4 of the way through, like I have, or maybe 1/3, meaning 1, 2, 3. It's at least 1/3 of the way in. It's almost 1/4 of the way in. You just don't want to go too far. And then I take my scissors and I'm just going to cut and stop right at the end of that line. I'm cutting through both thicknesses through the fold. There's 1 cut and there's 2 cuts. And that's all you need to do in terms of cutting. Now we just need to take this folded, this cut part and fold it up and crease it. Really important to crease it really well. Then we're going to flip it over and fold it the other direction and crease it really well. And then we can unfold the whole thing very carefully, and you can see how it's going to make a step. Right now, it's not a step because everything's folded the same direction, but what you do is just push it on the back till it comes through like this, and there it is. There's your little step. And this is going to fit right inside of the cover, like that. When we're done making our designs and stuff, we're then going to glue these pieces together. But for now, we're going to keep them separate. And now, what you get to do is start working on your design. I said I was going to put a bouquet of flowers right here. So with that small piece of paper that I talked about, you're going to get a piece of paper. I can see that this piece is going to be too big. I'm going to need to cut it down, but I want to measure how far I need to cut it. So I'm going to set it in front of my step, and then I'm going to push the cover down, and uh-oh, it sticks way out. So I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to make a line across the right by the edge, and then when I unfold this, I will see, oh, my inside pop-up needs to be smaller than this. It can't be this. If it's bigger than this, it won't work. And I'm going to make it even a little shorter just to make sure. And then I'm going to sort of measure it here. I could make it this big if I want to. I think I'm going to make it a little bit narrower to make sure I have room for things in the background. And now, on this piece, I'm going to draw a bouquet of flowers. And then I'm going to cut it out. And when I'm done, I will glue it. Actually put the cover away for a minute. I will just, when I'm finished with it, I'll end up gluing it here after I make the flowers. And then my sketch told me that on the background I was going to draw some clouds and sun. And in the foreground I'm just going to color it green like grass and make a message on there. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I'm going to work on making the bouquet of flowers. I'm going to draw it on here so it's big and big enough to cover this whole piece, because I measured this piece. I know this is going to be the right size. If I make a teeny tiny little picture and try to cut that out and put it on the pop-up, it's not going to even, I won't even notice it when I pop open my card, right? I want to fill up this whole space as much as I can with my design. So no matter what you're making, if you're making a cake or an animal or a lightning bolt or whatever you want to make it fill up pretty much the whole space here. So I'm just going to actually start in with my markers, and I'm going to draw some flowers and make a bouquet. Now I have my inside part. I made my bouquet of flowers. It's going to end up being glued onto the pop-up, but first I'm going to trim around the edges. I'm not going to cut out every little detail because that would just be too much trouble and it wouldn't be worth it. And it will actually work better if I just go around and cut off some of those sharp corners. I'm going to make it just a little bit more rounded. I think it just looks kind of cool that way, to kind of go around those, kind of shadow around my shapes, and cut it like this. But now I have a nice big surface that later, when I'm ready to put my card together, I can glue it right on there, and it's going to look really cool. And I remember in my thumbnail that I said I was going to make this be a sky with clouds and a sun. And I'm going to make this part be green like grass with a place to write a message here. So I'm going to decorate the inside of this before I glue this on. It's just going to be a lot easier to do my coloring here and here if I don't have this glued on. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm going to now color the background, the sky like I said I was going to do, and the front as the grass. So that's my next step. Now I'm finished with my pop-up element, and I'm finished with the background and the foreground. I need to put some glue on here and put it right on that front of the step. So I'm going to do that right now. Use my glue stick. Actually, I'm going to put glue all over this front part, just the front of the step. And then I'm going to put the flower picture right there so it just goes to the bottom, and it's just sticking to the step. And then press it this way gently too. And now, whoops, now the inside is done, and it will be a good idea for me probably just to let it dry a little bit so it doesn't stick together that way. And next, I'm going to need to design my front cover, so I'm going to set this inside like this and shut it so that I get the words on there right on the bottom here where it opens, not by the fold. I want it to say something here, and I'm going to have it say, thinking of you, because that is true. I'm thinking of her. So I'm going to take the inside out and let it dry a little bit. And this is where I was going to write thinking of you. And like I said, I like making just simple line designs or something on the front. You please make it your way, the way you like it. I'm going to make it be a little bit plain so that when she opens it up, it'll be more of a surprise, I feel. So I'm going to write thinking of you, ... And then I'm just going to do some of my famous stripes here, like maybe rainbow stripes, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet or purple. Since I don't actually have an indigo pen, I'm going for this next. So you design the front however you want it to be. And then, when that is done, it is time to glue it together. And to glue it together, I find that what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want it to put glue around the edge here, right, so this sticks in here. So I find that gluing the back of the pop-up page is kind of the easiest way, but you have to make sure, don't put glue on the danger zone. This is the danger zone, because if you put glue here, your pop-up will not pop out. It will be a flat down, not a pop-up. So you're going to go around the danger zone first and just put a line of glue around the danger zone. Don't put it on the danger zone, just around. And then around to the corners and edges. because you want them all to stick down to the outside. Just going to put glue all the way around like that. Then we take the cover and we want to make sure we line them up correctly. So Thinking of You is going to open like this. And the picture is going to open like this. So this just goes on the top. And you just have to kind of be as careful as you can. Kind of squish it around a little bit. Just kind of gently put it in there till you get it where you want it. And then carefully press down. And turn it over and carefully press on the back. And then fold it again. And let's take a look. Thinking of You. Boom, there's my pop-up card. And I think on the inside, I'm going to write Thinking of You and sending you flowers. And sending you flowers. Love, Nancy. Because that's what my friend knows me as. She doesn't call me Miss Smith. She calls me Nancy. So there it is. Thinking of You. And sending you flowers. That is my pop-up card. I hope that you enjoy learning how to make the pop-up mechanism and make somebody a special card, or make a little scene that you would like to have in your house or in your room, or make a little pop-up for somebody else. This is such a nice time to be thinking of other people and cheering people up that might be missing you a lot. And believe me, somebody getting something in the mail that you made your own self is probably one of the things they would love the most. So I sure wish I could see your pop-ups. If any of you make one and you want to take a couple pictures of it and maybe send them to me on Schoology or something like that, that would be super cool. So have fun, everybody, working with pop-ups.